Friday. This is very exciting. Oh, we all love Friday so much, don't we? I love Friday very, very much. Good to see you guys. Welcome into the show, if that's what we're calling it. Every day, Monday through Friday, unless I'm traveling or it's a holiday, we go live here at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. We talk about insulin resistance very specifically. We talk about it as an overall conversation all the time, but very, very much to help women understand that insulin is a hormone. I am convinced, by the way, my name is Kirsten Liebelt. I am convinced that women are sliding into their 40s. They are insulin resistant. They do not know it. And they're on a freaking hamster wheel and wondering why they can't drop 1 pound, why all of those old things didn't work anymore. And so, maybe you were very much using you're just going to do HIIT, high intensity, whatever interval training. And you just can't do that anymore. You're a runner or counting points or you name it. Like we have so many things that have been told to us. And the one thing that they never told us, the one thing that I was never told this in all of my life. You tell me if you've been told this. Because if you have, then you have such an amazing universe. The one thing we've been taught, eat less, move more. We've been taught it's only about calories, girlfriend. You're just eating too much. We've been taught so many things. All you need is this prepackaged system so that it'll just do it for you, or take this pill, like the speed that I was taking. Okay, it wasn't really, I shouldn't say that. That really does make me sound terrible, doesn't it? In my 30s, Metabolife. Does anybody remember Metabolife? And it was banned, but it was kind of like legalized speed. Anyway, okay, I digress. My point being, the one thing that we've not been told, especially as women, it applies to men too. I have guys that are also my customers, but it applies to women more. That is, insulin is a hormone, and it will turn upside down all of your other hormones. So let's work on that one and get everything else to level up and be better. Good morning, Patty. Good to see you. Very good to see you. Good morning, Magda. Good to see you. It's so good to see you. And thank you so much for jumping in. TikTok, come in from the balcony. You're going to see a little thing up here in the corner on TikTok that's telling you about the 5-day challenge. It's a 5-day reset challenge that we do every month in the group. Ditch insulin resistance for women. Somebody let me know if you can't read that, if for any reason, because sometimes the pixels, things get pixelated or whatever. But today is the last day of the 5-day reset challenge in the group. And so that means it's recipe day. And I want to show you guys today how to do, it's my own take on me playing around with the egg white bread recipe and custard. And it's sugar-free. I'm just telling you. So in the group, good morning, Jan. Good to see you. In the group, I teach grain, sugar, and legume-free. And the reason why is because you have to stop what got you into the pickle to begin with. And I thought it was going to be super hard because I'm Italian. And I have a lot of obesity and type 2 in my family. That was my upbringing. And so I thought all of this was going to be so hard. But I'm going to tell you something. I entered my 50s as a total hot mess express. And I exited my 50s. I just turned 60 with high function. I don't ache. I've lost 3 sizes. I'm the only person in my family, my immediate Italian family, to have avoided type 2 diabetes. I'm not on any meds. And I just feel good. I wake up and I don't ache. I think I just said that, but it really, I was thinking about this yesterday. My husband and I went on a long walk because it was beautiful here in Minnesota. And we went on a really long walk, and I just found myself walking and having so much gratitude in my heart to God that I can walk like this. I can walk and not ache, or that I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning and not pay for it. But that's just because when you turn back your insulin resistance, see, you can do exactly what I've done. I'm not special. I'm not. But you will reduce the inflammation in your body, because high levels of insulin equals high levels of inflammation. So everybody has to decide for themselves what's really important to you in terms of, let's say a year from now, your sugars are down, your insulin is down, and let's even pretend you're off of a med or two. I have somebody who's off of 10 in a year. But anyway, let's just pretend that's true and you've lost weight. Maybe you've lost 40 pounds. How is that person, that version of you, what are you the most excited about? Because you know what? Even though we want to say it's a dress size, it's zipping up our jeans, even though we want to say all of that, there are intangibles that actually mean more. I promise, right? Like that's how that goes. And all of a sudden we feel so good. I am special, Jan says. Thank you, Jan. So are you. You're so sweet. You're so sweet. I just mean in this game of turning back insulin resistance, I'm sure you knew that, but I'm not different in that. I mean, everybody can get their body to respond. We've just been given really trash information. And that leads me right into today's topic. Okay, here we go. We're going to do some fun Friday. Okay. Fun Friday. And so I wanted to do like a true or false. And so these are the ones that I came up with. And now you can tell me if you think that they are true or false. And then I will come back around and give you the answers. Okay. So true or false, these are health lies that are keeping you stuck. Okay. And I think I've got 6 of them. And so if you need any information on the Facebook group or whatever, it's called Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. 3:00 today, Central Standard Time, we'll do a recipe. It's the best day as far as I'm concerned, right? Okay. So let's get into this and you just let me know. And then I'm going to come back around. I'm going to say them first and I want you to think about them. And then I'm going to come back around and I'm going to give you the answers and why. All right. You got this? Do you need a pen or pencil? I don't know if you need to get that serious about it. You don't have to be that serious, people. It's Friday. Don't be so serious. All right, here we go. Number 1, true or false? Oops, hold on. Oh, they put a number. That's so funny. True or false? Skipping meals or fasting will crash your metabolism and make you store fat. That's number 1. And if you want to answer, you can put number 1 TF if you want to answer as I'm going. But if you need to think about it, number 1 is true or false. Skipping meals or fasting will crash your metabolism and make you store fat. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, you have to eat fiber for a healthy gut. True or false? If you don't eat fiber, your gut health will suffer. True or false? Number 2. Okay. If you don't eat fiber, your gut health will suffer. Number 3. True or false? You can't be insulin resistant if you're thin. True or false? You can't be insulin resistant if you're thin. Number 4. True or false? Seed oils like canola and soybean oil are fine in moderation. It's just calories that matter. That's number 4. You guys are going to love the information behind these. You are going to love this stuff. You're my kind of people. You geek out with me on this stuff. Number 5, gut issues have nothing to do with blood sugar. Your gut bacteria does not play a role. True or false? Gut bacteria doesn't play a role in insulin resistance. Very good. You guys are T. Lee. Very good. I like that you're guessing. Number 6. Did I say that one properly? Your gut bacteria does not play a role in your insulin resistance. True or false? Last one. Number 6. Oh, that was the last one? Was that the last one? Oh, that was the last one. Okay, number 5. I thought I had 6. Okay, so those are the 5. So now let's go through them and let's just see what you were thinking in your head. Let's see if anybody was brave enough to answer. Here we go. So number 1, fasting slows your metabolism. That's actually false. And here is why, though. I am very convinced that people need to know why things are true so that you will then be consistent or you will take action. Okay. So fasting actually boosts your metabolism by increasing norepinephrine and growth hormone. Okay, norepinephrine and growth hormone. Insulin resistance is often caused by too frequent eating, because we do, don't we? We like snack, 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 eat, 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 because we're eating for emotional reasons, because we're bored, because we're stressed, etc., right? Or social, like a gathering, right? So insulin resistance is often caused by too frequent of eating and not fasting. The real danger, snacking all day keeps your insulin elevated, making fat loss harder. Okay. So who here has been told that they need to eat every few hours to keep their metabolism up? Let me know if you've ever been told that by a provider or a friend or Oprah, or, I mean, I don't even know. I'm just saying, like a TV show of any kind, a morning, the morning Today show or whatever. Have you ever been told that you need to eat every 4 hours or every few hours to keep your metabolism up? Because the truth is that fasting will actually boost your metabolism, and it's increasing your norepinephrine and your growth hormone. Okay, I love these answers because I like to know exactly why. So, Terry, okay, let's find out. Terry says that they're all false. You guys are so fun. Okay, number 2, you have to eat fiber for a healthy gut. If you don't eat fiber, your gut health will suffer. The answer is false. Ooh, I'm gonna get flack on this one. Listen, I did not make these up. These are not mine. This is like just science stuff. Why? Fiber can actually ferment in the gut and worsen bloating, gas, and IBS in some people. Some gut issues improve when fiber is reduced. Bum, bum, bum. Like, this is so opposite of what we are being taught every day, right? Especially for people with SIBO, which is small intestine. Trying to remember what that stands for. SIBO, IBS, or leaky gut. Gut bacteria, they do not only need fiber, they thrive on polyphenols like in green tea, dark chocolate, olive oil, and resistant starch like in cold potatoes or green bananas. So, they actually don't, your gut bacteria doesn't actually need fiber in order to be healthy. Okay. Who has noticed feeling better when you eat less fiber? I would like to know that. You can drop an emoji if you know what I mean, like a little emoji. Because so some people, I just had this conversation actually with somebody who I was doing a customer consult on the phone. If you don't know that, I will do that and help you customize what you're needing. And so I was talking to her. She's actually from Canada. I love my Canadian customers. And I'm from Minnesota, so we're really close, right? We're neighbors. And she has Hashimoto's. And so we were talking about thyroid and all of these things. And we were talking about the inflammation that can be caused when people have autoimmune conditions, or like they were saying, SIBO, IBS, etc. Actually, there are a lot of vegetables that we think that we should be eating, especially we think raw, like raw broccoli and cauliflower and whatever. And it's just causing major bloating and inflammation. So there are some people that, like, if they have autoimmune, they go carnivore, and they have to be so strict, some of them, to really bring that autoimmune into remission, which means like no onion powder, no garlic powder, nothing that would inflame their system. So everybody's in a different area. I get that, right? I do have somebody in my world as a customer who has short gut syndrome. So she was very concerned about taking like the gut primer that we talk about, that a lot of you are taking. But it turned out to be phenomenal for her. Okay. So you just have to know. And again, the greens that are in there, they're fermented. So you can imagine why that then is so much better for somebody in that situation. So that's just a little FYI, but super interesting. The fiber conversation. Linda says, really, they lie. I know. The fiber conversation is very, very big. Very, very big, because that's considered a cutting a corner. Like, hey, if you just add fiber to everything, you can kind of eat a little bit of whatever you want because it's going to slow down and it's going to make it so that your sugars don't spike too fast. They're going to go slower. And so therefore, this is not a conversation. I've always told you guys, I am not a fan of that conversation at all. I would much rather teach you how to fish, like for real. Like if I just come on here and teach you how to cut corners, then you're going to be like, geez, I remember, that was kind of like interesting that she would always teach us how to like, hack our way out of insulin resistance. But then it didn't last and I gained my weight back. And it didn't last and I ended up on drugs. I shouldn't say it that way. I ended up on scripts anyway. And it didn't last and fill in the blank. That is so the opposite of what I'm trying to accomplish. Number 3, insulin resistance only affects overweight people. True or false? You can't be insulin resistant if you are thin. False. Terry is right again. So here's why though. Okay. Here's why. And I do have a few of you that reach out to me and you're like, okay, so should I still take the trio? Those are the 3 supplements that help with insulin sensitivity. Should I still take the trio if I don't have weight to lose? And the short answer is yes, because it's not, when you're bringing down it's not going to cause you to lose weight that you don't need to lose, but it is going to work on your inner systems of bringing down insulin and sugars and get your liver functioning at a very high level, right? Like that's what you're wanting because you want your body to work. You want your liver to help govern the glucose in your blood and govern your hormones, and insulin is a hormone. Up to 40% of normal weight people, get this, you guys, up to 40% of normal weight people have insulin resistance. That is shocking. Isn't that something? It's called TOFI. Does anybody know what TOFI stands for? I'd like to know if anybody knows what that stands for. TOFI. Thin outside, fat inside. Thin outside, fat inside. It is more dangerous because, and we've talked about this a lot, you guys, that visceral fat around your organs, it is harder to detect than belly fat. It is hard to detect, but it is dangerous. It is active. Symptoms include, okay, so if you don't know for sure if you have a lot of visceral fat underlying, even though you're thin, symptoms include fatigue, sugar cravings. You guys, I can't even, mood swings. I'll go back to it in just a second because it just triggers me a little bit in a good way. Mood swings, poor sleep, and brain fog, even if the scale looks normal. Okay. If you've ever been told you're fine, you're not overweight, but you feel off, this could be you. So let's talk about that just a little bit. I often see our society has so transitioned to a sugar society that when I look at the younger generation, meaning like in their 20s, I felt I was a sugar addict. I was like a Snicker bar milk dud sugar addict. Like I was a salt, sweet, salt, sweet, salt, sweet. Okay. And of course, then the chips turn into sugar and then you're eating sugar and then the, whatever, the pasta turns into sugar and then you're eating sugar, right? Back and forth. I've almost never seen anything like it right now. This generation, like in their 20s, is far worse than I ever was because I never had permission from society to be for as bad as I was. And I was bad. Okay. Still, I knew it was not okay to eat just copious amounts of candy and drink copious amounts of sugar drinks. So the young girls now have PCOS, right? This is common, right? But what I hear out of their mouth is, oh man, and they're skinny. They're skinny, 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 skinny. Okay? Because they're in their 20s, maybe even in their 30s. So they're skinny, but thin on the outside, fat on the inside. And so their sugar cravings are off the chart. Oh, I just eat candy all the time. I can't say no to candy. I love candy. Yes. And it's literally a sign. I mean, it's just my heart, because why deal with infertility and frustration if this is an insulin resistant conversation? Why? It is really, really unnerving. So that's what that is. Myth number 4, seed oils aren't that bad. It's just about calories. All right. Oh, interesting. Mom and dad said eat 5 smaller meals a day. She was taking, so yes, she says, my mom's doctor said to eat 5 smaller meals a day. She was taking insulin. She died at 76. My doctor has been pushing me to take meds for years, and now I am taking a different path. Good job. Intermittent fasting and carb restriction, and it is working. Yes. Yay. I brought my A1C from 7.7 to 6.3. I'm only 67 now. I hope to live longer than my mother. God willing, keep up the good work, Kirsten. Oh, thank you, Mary. Mary Jane, thank you. Yes, I'm telling you, you guys, you're not too old. You're not too old. Like, that's just amazing. That's just amazing. I have a customer who her A1C last July was 6 point, I think I'm going to get close, 6.5. And she was taking the supplements that I talk about. There's 3 of them. And her A1C went down from July to January of this year in the 5s, like 5.4 or 5. And her doctor said, you are amazing. I don't know what you're doing, but I'm going to put not diabetic in your chart, because her labs were showing her A1C just like plummeting. And this is so possible. People have got to get this message that you can like shift and take control. It's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. Okay. So back to number 4, the seed oils. Okay. It's false. Seed oils like canola and soybean oil are fine in moderation. It's just calories that matter. No, but here's why. So understand why. Okay. So PUFAs are polyunsaturated fat. Okay. That's what they are. In seed oils, seed oils oxidize very quickly, and they cause inflammation and insulin resistance. I remember hearing Maria Emmerich saying at one point that the research that she was studying, like the studies that she was reading, talked about how actually worse than sugar for insulin resistance are seed oils, because of the inflammation and the link to causing worsened insulin resistance. Studies show that the seed oils, they are stored in fat cells, and it makes them larger and more resistant over time, more insulin resistant over time. Even without overeating, seed oils drive weight gain by disrupting mitochondria and metabolism. I just think nobody wants anything to get in the way of their metabolism. I'm thinking I don't want anything to get in the way of my metabolism. And so if you've already started cutting them out of your diet, let me know. Like, drop a fire emoji or something in the comments. Let me know. I'd love to know if you've already been cutting seed oils out of your diet. I know that I'm not 100% seed oil free, but the reason why is because I go out to restaurants. So I already know. Now, I took my steps to that too, right? There were steps. Like, I stopped buying them in my home. I threw out what I had. That was me. And then I stopped doing things like well, for sugar too, but like Chick-fil-A sauce, total seed oil and sugar. Most every prepackaged dressing you buy from any restaurant, like, you're just going to get seed oils in there. So, I just, better to get like an oil and vinegar, whatever. All of these little tricks that you can, but you can't always promise that a restaurant is not frying their burgers in seed oils, et cetera. Now, we're making gains, because this year now, I know that I think it's Steak and Shake, they've returned to beef tallow for their French fries. That is huge. The potato in the French fry, it's not your problem. I don't eat potatoes, and we shouldn't be eating potatoes, but it's not the potato that's the biggest issue. It's the oxidized seed oil that they're cooking them in that is causing inflammation and worsening your insulin resistance. I mean, we don't even think this way, right? Like, we have to shift our thinking. because we just have such bad information and our food supply has been so tainted. But anyway, and so obviously now avocado oil, olive oil, coconut oil, butter, lard, ghee, all those things, those are normal, not PUFAs, polyunsaturated fats that oxidize quickly. Even without overeating, seed oils drive weight gain, I'm repeating, by disrupting your mitochondria and your metabolism. I mean, it's a big deal. Okay, and then the fifth one here, hold on, I want to make sure. Okay, hold on. I clicked on the wrong button. Okay, number 5. Gut issues. Your gut bacteria does not play a role in insulin resistance. And again, it's false. So Terry got all of them right because she's so dang smart. Way to go, Terry. It's false. Your gut bacteria actually controls, oh my gosh, you guys, just listen to this for a second, okay? Up to 50% of your insulin response because of endotoxins, inflammation, and blood sugar regulation. So taking care of your gut is not just a really good idea, but 50% of your insulin response because of endotoxins, inflammation, and blood sugar regulation. Dysbiosis, which is bad gut bacteria, can make you more insulin resistant even if you eat perfectly. Fixing your gut health. We talk about this stuff all the time. Probiotic, gut primer, cutting inflammatory foods. It can lower fasting insulin by 20 to 30% in studies. 20 to 30%. So I'd love to know who here is struggling with gut issues. Are you struggling with that? Or blood sugar problems? Because that could really be a connection, right? They're connected. And this is why fixing the gut helps everything. You know, I mean, we just don't even know. Now, I do have some bonus tips. Let me see here. Oh, nope. That was for a different piece. So I'm not going to do that. Okay. Those are the 5 myths that they were all false. Way to go, Terry. Way to go. All right. I'm going to go through them. I'm just going to read them quickly, all right in a row. Okay. And then I'll tell you what we're doing like today and stuff. So myth number 1, fasting slows your metabolism. That is false. It actually speeds up your metabolism and it helps through increasing norepinephrine and growth hormone. Number 2, you have to eat fiber for a healthy gut. That is false, Ola. But here's why, because fiber can actually ferment in your gut and worsen your bloating, gas, and IBS in some people. So oftentimes there are people who literally, they start to eliminate vegetables and they start to feel really good. And it's just because they're not ready. The gut's not ready for them. If we have leaky gut or other things going on, our gut's not okay with it, right? So that's why and I'll talk about the gut primer here in a second, but those greens are fermented. Think about that, how much easier, how much better that is. If it's already created and you're not having to go through the process, right? So some gut issues actually improve when fiber is reduced. Number 3, insulin resistance only affects overweight people. So not true. That is false. Again, thin on the outside, fat on the inside. Okay. That's what we talked about. Number 4, seed oils I missed one. Where did I miss one? Fiber. I'm just saying them wrong. I got them all. And then the last one is that, the seed oils. That's false too, because we do know that it's not just about calories, that it is about actually increasing your insulin resistance and increasing inflammation. And then the last one is the gut issues. And so I just had those backwards. But anybody who is looking to really try to do things from the inside out, I do speak to a lot of you in the background about other maybe programs that you've done or, things where you had maybe some really good results, but then maybe you gained your weight back. Some of you are frustrated because then you're really being hard on yourself, thinking that you are just kind of messed up or you don't have enough willpower or, you're just kind of a lame weight loss loser. And you just really, I want you to release yourself from those ways of speaking to yourself. It's very unkind and it's shaming yourself. And don't do that. You can't heal a body in shame. And the reason why I love talking about the science behind things like this when we get together every day is because if you can understand, then you can take your emotion out of what you're trying to accomplish. Okay. And that is actually a really big piece of the puzzle, taking your emotion outside of it. Okay. So for instance, if you are thin or not, but you know that you have visceral fat issues, you've been diagnosed with fatty liver and you've been diagnosed with other things and you are concerned about that, or maybe you have somebody in your family that, and I have to be careful because I'm not a doctor, right? But I'm going to assume that one component out of many, I'm sure, okay? One component of, let's say, pancreatic C would be that maybe there was a lot of visceral fat going on around, liver, stomach, intestines, pancreas, etc., right? So when we are concerned about those things, I would say that if that's what you're concerned about, the number one thing I would recommend to you is the orange pixie stick, because this is actually targeting visceral fat. And I have scans from 2 different customers that prove the reduction of visceral fat. And this is going to help you not, the fun part about it, I'll tell you the fun part. The fun part is that tastes like orange candy. So if you want your supplement to taste like candy, you put it on your tongue and it tastes amazing. Okay, that's the fun part. The fun part is that you lose inches. In 90 days, Megda was on here. She lost 3.5 inches from under her bra, 2 inches off her waist and 1 inch off her hips because it targets your trunk. That's the fun part of it. Okay. The part that you don't realize, the reason why your inches go down is because literally you're losing the visceral fat from within. So you're kind of losing weight from inside. But that is so good to hear because that visceral fat is, it's active. It's emitting inflammation. It's emitting hormones. It's keeping you in disruption. And I think I would like to just remind the whole concept of what they said about that was, hold on, 40% of normal weight people have insulin resistance because they have the visceral fat. 40% of normal weight people, it's because they have the visceral fat. That sounds really funny in my brain, which is the fat around your organs. Okay. So, and it's harder to detect. So some people do get scans. Thank you for the hearts. And it's delicious. Crystal says, good morning, Crystal. How are you doing today? It's good to see you on. It's very, very good to see you. It is delicious. It literally, if you want your supplement to taste like candy, that's just what this is. Okay. It's an extract. It's a clinical dose of an extract and it targets visceral fat, and doggone it. I can believe it, but I did not believe it when they launched this. I did not believe that to be true. I had to wait for tests to come back. I had to wait for results to come back. I had to see you guys getting the results. I had to see myself losing inches. I had to experience it because it sounds crazy. But in 2025, as we begin to find out more and more, and just in the 2020s, science just does actually locate things better. Okay. So that's the first one that I would recommend for somebody who is looking for, if you know that if you know that your gut is an issue for you, hold on. Where's that? If you know your gut is an issue for you, you have a hard time digesting, you have leaky gut syndrome, you know that you are only having a bowel movement every 2, 3, 4 days, that is not a recipe for success. Not only is it uncomfortable, sometimes it makes it really hard to sleep, because when you roll over, you don't feel good. Your tummy feels a little distended. Maybe you're just having a lot of bloating and you constantly feel like you're in a state of bloat. That can be very frustrating. And so when I talk to people about that, I did not know the statistic that 50% of how your cell is going to receive insulin is coming from your gut. That's a really, really high percentage. I didn't realize that. And it's because of, they said, endotoxins, inflammation, and blood sugar regulation. So that is huge. That is a big piece of the puzzle. So anybody who is looking to deal with your gut, I do talk about a gut reset protocol all the time. Sometimes people put all of this together. You don't have to, but sometimes people do. And they do get then maybe more comprehensive results. But I will tell you that when I love showing this picture because, well, I think a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? Hold on. My daughter last fall, I showed this the other day. She basically had a lot of bloating. She's had 3 babies in under 4 years. And so she had a weekend where she was eating a lot. Now you have to understand, she had gallstones for 2 of her pregnancies. Okay. There's a connection between gallstones and insulin resistance. I don't know if you knew that or not. So she had to learn how to deal with her insulin resistance with the trio, those 3 supplements, and etc. So when they, and her food, she's switched out a lot of her food. But one weekend she ate a bunch of really bad food, and this is, let's see if it'll stay. This is what it looked like at the end of the day for her. Oh, see, it didn't stay. This is what it looked like at the end of the day for her. Let's see if I can get that close enough to you guys that you can actually see it, all of you. Oh, come on. I'm going to see if I've got it in my camera, make it easier. And basically what she did was she took a dose, she took a scoop. It looks like this to show you. It's a greens product. It looks like a greens product, but it's not. It's six products in one, 6. Okay. And that's why this is working completely differently than a greens product. It is a primer for your gut. And that does change everything. Oh, that's right. I had Terry's thing on here too. So this is it here. This is a better way to show you guys. So at the end of the day, she was super bloated from eating a certain way all day, all weekend actually. And she was like, oh my gosh, I'm pregnant. I hope you can see that. It's at the top of my Instagram page in the gut primer highlight bubble. And she took a scoop and she's like, well, I don't know if this is going to work or not overnight, but I'm going to. And then she said, Mom, I could not believe, look at that, how flat she got. And she goes, and that's not fully flat. Like that was just from sleeping. So she slept and that's how much it went down. So I just want you to know, like, if you have digestive issues, like I said, I have a customer with short gut syndrome. I have people who have been taking over-the-counter stool softeners and laxatives, and now they won't live without it. I have people that literally they didn't sleep. They haven't slept for years. And this was a piece of their puzzle to have more sleep, to have more energy. So 50% of your insulin resistance, of your cell being resistant to taking an insulin, is coming from your gut. And if you've never focused in on your gut, like dialed in, that's the conversation to have. So I always talk about grab the gut primer, but then if you do not have a good probiotic, get the Balance probiotic. It's 5 strains, put on your tongue, tastes like the bottom of a cereal bag. Kind of reminiscent, not going to lie. But there is that's the gut reset protocol, okay? And then basically, you know what? Make sure that you are, make sure that you are eating the way that you know that you're supposed to be eating. And that kind of brings me back then to the group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. So it took me a while. I was a little slow to the table when it came to food. I'm not going to lie. Slow. I was a little slow turtle is what I was. And the reason why is just because I was doing it on my own, in my head, just me and Jesus, walking through my emotional and whatever connections I had with food. Being Italian, and food was everything about celebration and mourning, and it was everything. It just was everything, always about food. And the reason why I bring that up is because as you learn how to trade out your ingredients, you become so empowered to continue to do that for yourself. In the group today, because when I talk about like the egg white bread, what Maria Emmerich has really brought to the table is she has brought, and if you don't know who she is, she's like she's a keto educator of like 30 years. She herself was diagnosed with, when she was in her teens, PCOS, IBS, depression. Like she had a lot going on. And so she just really did find a way to trade out ingredients and still love food. And so now I get to use that information and bring it to you guys. And one of them is that egg white bread recipe. And so I found like I played around with it and found like a little, my own little treat hack that I wanted to show you in the group today. And that'll be at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. But the reason why she trades out so many ingredients is not just so that you can be keto, like all of everything that's taught to us about being keto. Here's a keto prepackaged food, and here's another keto recipe with massive amounts of almond flour, and just eat all the fat that you want. And all of that BS is keeping you so stuck. And so when you can actually, like, she teaches high protein, moderate fat, and she said, most of you need to lower your fat. Like, how are you going to lose fat if you keep eating so much fat? Like, you have to stop. And so her protocol is just so much different. And I feel like I mimic that more than anybody else's protocol. That is different than a carnivore person, right? A carnivore person, they might be eating a lot of meat and beef and fat, and that's a different thought process. But if you are keto, you can't be, unless it's really working for you, then don't fix it, right? But most of the time, we cannot just eat keto treats all day long and really like just all that almond flour. There's a lot of fat in there. There's quite a few carbs in there. Like, we can overeat anything that we do. We always have the opportunity to overeat and to undermove. We do have that opportunity. But I'll tell you, when you can start to tweak along with stop spiking your sugars, and for those of you who do not know the cycle of insulin resistance, it is just an overconsumption of carbohydrates over a long period of time. You can be insulin resistant for years and decades. I was, before I did anything about it. And you can be insulin resistant for a very, very, very long time before it ever shows up in your sugars. So they keep telling you your labs are okay. They keep telling you that there's nothing wrong with you. And you're like, I know there is. And then the answer from society or our provider comes along and says, listen, you're just getting older. What's wrong with you? Did you expect to have the metabolism of a 20-year-old forever? What's wrong with you? That's not the proper conversation. That's a bunch of BS. It's because when you spike your sugars over and over and over again, and your pancreas is releasing insulin to try to go get that sugar and shuttle it into your cell, and your cell closes the door, now you are resistant. This is what's called resistant. You're resistant to the insulin. But what insulin is really good at is storing fat. It is called the fat storing hormone. Thus, the visceral fat that we just got done talking about around your organs and how dangerous it is. Because the core conversation is what? Insulin resistance. Every day. That's what my whole goal is, to get you to understand that. And so it's going to store as fat. So not only is your pancreas going to release more insulin to try to deal with the sugar, because it doesn't understand why it can't get it into your cell. Like, oh, I must not have made enough insulin. I better make some more insulin. Release, 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 release. High inflammation. After a while of this resistant cell, your sugars just rise. Just now you're seeing it in your blood sugar tests, your A1C. Now your doctor wants to put you on Met. All of those things are happening. But you can turn it around, in my opinion. You can turn it around. I mean, honestly, the fact that, like, I just am so happy when, like a customer says, she said, the doctor said, you are amazing. I am going to put not diabetic in your chart. That's a good doctor, right? And it's all because she decided to invest in herself, and she started using the trio. So I know that the testimonies can get to be so exciting And they are exciting. But I'm going to tell you that the long-term benefits are going to outweigh the short-term societal mentality that we have. I will never, ever blow smoke. I will never do that. I will never. Yes, I do have people that, like, after 2 weeks, they started losing a pound a day. That happened because their body super responded, right? I do have people that in 2.5 months lost, what did she lose? She lost 14 pounds, but you have to understand that the reason why she lost 14 pounds after 2.5 months and why that was such a big deal in her world is because she hadn't lost a pound for 3 years. And she was on meds and she was on 2 different supplements, berberine and inositol. And that combination was not working for her. So when she started on the trio, what happened was her morning sugars dropped 30 points, which had not been happening. And because of that drop, she lost 14 pounds. So I know that I've got these tests. I know. I've got so many. I've got a Google sheet full of testimonies. But the truth is that this is a healing journey for your body. You can't see your visceral fat. You can go get a scan and get those results. I mean, definitely. And maybe people want to do that because things that you can't track or see, sometimes then we can get in our head that stuff isn't working or it's taking too long. Don't do that. Don't require your body to work so dang fast. Instead, say to yourself, okay, we've got April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. We have 10 months left in the year. 10, it should be 9. 9 months left. Yeah, 9. 9 months left in the year. I can do math. Don't you worry about me. I can do math. Seriously. 9 months left in the year. Okay, well, in 8 months last year, Terry lost 40 pounds. Plus, she lost more than 40 pounds. Traded out her foods, started taking supplements, trio, etc. 8 months it took her. Are you willing to wait? Is 8 months okay? Are you happy or sad if after 8 months you've lost 40 pounds? And I'm not making any guarantees ever, because I don't know all your factors. I don't know the scripts that you're on. I don't know the surgeries that you've had. I don't know how much detoxing your body needs because you've had anesthesia 4 times in the last year. Like, I don't know. I don't know what you're addicted to for food and what you're sneaking at night and ask me how I know these things. Like you guys, this comes from the most honest place that it could come from within myself. I started this a little over 10 years ago, right? And then it took me time to trade out my foods because I didn't have me. I didn't have the future me talking to me. So now I want to talk to your future self. Will you bring her to the table? Let's bring your future self to the table and let's have a conversation. And maybe that future self is only 1 year from now. And say, so how are you feeling? How much better are you feeling? Are you proud of yourself? Are you proud that you traded out some ingredients? Are you proud of yourself that you learned a few recipes? How proud are you that you told that food pusher at the 4th of July picnic that, no, you know what? I'm just not hungry right now. I'll let you know. And you kind of pushed aside that food pusher. How proud are you of yourself that you went to the cabin? I live in Minnesota. So if you don't know the cabin phenomenon in Minnesota, you'll have to just attribute something else to your state. In Minnesota, we do not our growing season and our summer is not as long as everybody else's, as you can imagine. So everybody goes to the cabin, and the cabin is all about junk food and getting out on the lake and playing card games and whatever it is, right? So a year from now, how proud are you that you went to the cabin and you actually had the presence of mind ahead of time to make your own, like, puppy chow that was keto? Did you know you could do that? You made your own keto toffee. How proud are you of yourself that you did these things so that you could make a difference? I know some of you struggle with consistency, even with supplementation. So maybe a year from now, it's 2026. Maybe during 2025, you grabbed Jenny Potter's book, Self-Sabotage No More, and you identified where you've been sabotaging your own success. by requiring your body to hurry up, speed up. Come on, what's wrong with you? And then every program you start and try, you just quit. But did you know that it's not because you are a loser? Did you know that it could very well be a track that was from your childhood? And it is something where your subconscious is actually keeping you safe. And so when you veer off course, your subconscious says, whoa, 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 whoa. You just left the safety zone. Get back over here where it's familiar and we feel safe. That's Jenny Potter's book, Self-Sabotage No More. So ask yourself a year from now, how proud are you of that future person? And then for me, I'm really excited about you 2, 3, 4 years from now because you learned how to trade out your pantry. You learned how to make a new recipe. And now your labs look different. They can happen way before that. But I'm just going way out into the future. Now you've been off of meds for quite some time, maybe now, and you've actually taken a few family trips and you got into a car and you didn't have swollen ankles at the end of the trip and you got on an airplane and you buckled in and you weren't self-conscious and whatever it is for you. I am fighting for the future version of you because we don't have to live this way. Like when Mary Jane said that she has now brought her A1C from a 7.7 to a 6.3. She's 67 years old. And what did she say? So her doctor has been pushing me to take meds for years. So in her avoidance of meds, are you kidding me? Do you understand that you're literally buying back your memory ability? You are investing in yourself so that you can actually create memories that maybe you weren't going to create. The most dramatic reason is because you're not here anymore, like my dad at 63, dead. But there are way less dramatic reasons for that. You know, my dad, I'll jump off here after this story. He, at the last 2 years of his life, so from 61 to 63, he was on kidney dialysis. And we were living out in the Black Hills of South Dakota. And, you know, so here he is young because I'm 60. So that's really young, right? Like Mary Jane saying that she's 67. Now we are in our 60s. Like, holy Hannah, that's so young because we feel like we're, 40. And when he would come out to visit, which wasn't very often, we had to make his entire trip around a kidney dialysis center. Okay. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand the need for that, right? But this was preventable, people. This is not because he had a rare kidney condition. This is something we are bringing upon ourselves as a society. So anybody that is sitting on my content, anybody that comes back to hear more, anybody that gets into the group, anybody that starts targeted supplementation, anybody, you need to be proud of yourself. Because you have a friend somewhere that's binging on Netflix and not taking the time to actually take care of yourself or themselves so that they can be there for their children. Because maybe you're in your 40s and you're just realizing you're insulin resistant and you can't lose a freaking pound to save your life. And if that's not you and you're older like me, then share this with your daughter. Share this with your daughter-in-law. Because you want to be there for your children, but you also want to be there for your grandchildren, but you also want to be available to be in pictures, whether you're at the weight that you love or not, and that's probably what drives us is the fact that we want to not have to put a pillow on our lap to take a picture. Ask me how I know. Or we don't want to hide behind somebody in that family reunion picture that's coming up in July, or that wedding in June, or we're the mother of the bride, or whatever. That drives us. But the benefits, woo, they are so many. There's so many. So who are you a year from now? Be proud of the choices that you made all spring and summer and Christmas. We'll keep chatting. We'll keep talking. Get around the fire here. Get around the campfire. Get into the group. Every month we do a 5-day challenge. We're wrapping up today our 22nd one. So when you feel like you can't go a little bit longer, you feel like, God, I just don't even know if I made any progress. Oh, somebody had a testimony that I read yesterday in the group. Oh, I don't want to give false numbers. Oh, well, no, it was the one that said not diabetic in her chart. She said, man, I was really like feeling like maybe I wasn't making enough progress. Maybe is this really doing anything for me? She personally didn't have a lot of weight to lose. So she was doing all of this just for health benefits. She's in her 70s. She didn't want to be on meds, all of these things, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, I just was kind of being hard on myself and kind of getting down thinking, I'm giving up all the food I love. And is it even working? And then she goes to her doctor and her doctor says, what? You're amazing. Your numbers are telling the story. I'm going to put not diabetic in your chart. And she was like, oh my gosh, all my work. And that was only from July to January. So give yourself permission to have a journey. Okay. Been there with the photos. Terry says, same here, Patty. Yep. I know. We're all the same, you guys. We're all the same. And so, like I said at the very beginning, I am not special in that way. My results of losing 3 sizes in my 50s after my cycle stopped, that's what I talk about all the time. That's not special. That can be normal. It really can be. And maybe you need to grab onto somebody else's testimony. Terry's the one saying she remembers the photos. Terry, that was her non-scale victory that she texted me one day. I tucked in my shirt. And she's the one that lost 40 pounds. She's 62 and in 8 months. But my point being that can be you too. You can receive that for yourself, okay? And if you want to know the supplements, that Terry and others were using, reach out to me. Reach out to me. If you want to know the food ingredient trade outs, get into the group. Okay. Ditch insulin resistance for women. That's what I teach all the time. Okay. And the 3 components that we talked about, just so that you have reference and you know what cart to ask me for. You can ask me for the trio cart. Those are the 3 supplements. I have oodles of testimonies, oodles and bunches of testimonies for the trio, helping with insulin resistance, turning towards insulin sensitivity, and people getting off of meds, losing weight, blood sugar coming down. It's like oodles. The second piece of the puzzle would be the gut primer and the probiotic if you want the gut reset protocol. And then the last one would be the orange pixie stick. This is for the visceral fat. All 3 of these can be thought of in terms of being separate, or you can do all of them at once. And I love the one with Claudette. She did all of these, and she staggered them. Like she started with the trio August 28th. Then she added in the gut reset protocol, and then she added in that pixie stick. And in 5 months, she lost 45 pounds and her labs get better. And she's 74. She just turned 75. So this is not about your age holding you back. This is about not viewing things through the lens, not thinking properly, and viewing things through the lens of insulin resistance. You have to trade out your glasses. You have to put on a new set of glasses to see that insulin is the culprit. Insulin is the trigger. And then we can fix that, okay? So I want you guys to have the most spectacular weekend ever. Do something for yourself. Make a good memory. Take a picture. I challenge you, take a picture and send it to me. Just message me with a picture of you doing something fun this weekend. And also too, then you're documenting potentially the beginning of your journey, or you're documenting a moment in your journey. And you know what? Pictures matter. I've got pictures up here on TikTok because it's the only platform I can do that on. I was a 2X. I went down to a large. I'm still on my journey just like you are, but we can all do it together and have the proper lens. Okay. And then you can feel terrific. So have a great weekend, you guys. And I will chat with you later. 3:00 Central Standard Time in the group today. Be there or be square.